ready for all through all the pain,
Hey everybody, welcome to the Sleeper Wire Show. I am your host, Professor Chris, and with me today I have our Prophet Hus and also Lucas. What's going on, fellas?
What's up?
Hey.
Hey, Lucas, you think you need a nickname, man?
Hey, I've been waiting for one of our sleepers to don me with one, but it just hasn't happened yet.
What about Lucky Lucas?
Hey, that works. Cool Hand Luke, Lucky Luke, there we go.
Yeah, let it just, come to you organically, but hey, maybe the sleepers like it, and if you do, maybe just, go ahead and, say it in the, Sleeper Wire Show?
Yep.
Tweet us at us.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Either trash us or, trash it or give us some good, feedback. No matter what it is good.
Well, it's big news this week for both me and one of our other co-hosts, Max, who you guys know. It is our birthday this Friday.
Happy birthday!
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
Looking forward to it. Max is going to be 26, and I am hitting 30.
Nice.
Oh, no way.
Yeah,
yep.
Man. You're burying the 20s.
Yeah, it's almost gone.
Are you going to have some last words?
Some last words? No. What kind of sucks is that on my last day of my 20s, I'm going to be teaching until 9:30 at night.
Nice. Appropriate.
So that's how I get to say goodbye. All right, in other big news, we are also giving away a signed Michael Crabtree jersey soon. Details for that are going to be given at the end of the show. And today we're going to do some news as usual and then talk about or answer a couple mail-sack questions that we have. But we're going to kick it off here with a couple questions. So, question for each of you guys. As of February, and this is most likely going to change because, it's February, who is your breakout player of the year? And I'm going to say non-rookie. Hus, let's start with you.
Breakout? I'm gonna go as far as draft day. I think the value I really like. I'm crushing on some Kenyon Drake. I just love what he was able to do as far as with the limited touches that he did have. He didn't get much work, not early, mid-season when Ajayi did move on. But he with the work he did get, he still was able to get some receptions. He got yardage, he got touchdowns. I think he's a really great all-down back, and I think he's going to have great value on draft day. So I'm definitely targeting him. And Miami always has history of having a running back fantasy relevance in the top 12 to top 15 range every year for the past like 3 or 4 years now. So even back when Lamar Miller was there. So I think that Kenyon Drake, I think people are going to be sleeping on him, and I'm going to be very excited to take him on my team.
Yeah, I like that pick. He's current ADP is the 507. Once again, that could change, but that's where he's currently going.
Right.
Lucas, what about you?
So my breakout player of the year is a guy that was pretty hot in the second half of the season, but I think he was fairly forgettable going into this year. I think people will be off of him or just not on him as much, and it's Alex Collins. There's a lot of other running backs there, but he passes what we call the eye test. Like, he looks really good, and I think that if that team is smart, they'll give him enough touches over the course of next season for him to way outperform his expectations.
Yeah.
Collins is great.
That's interesting because 2 shows ago he was my anti-Valentine. So, so if you guys want to hear my argument against that, go listen to that show, the Valentine's Day episode. But anyways, I took Jordan Reed for mine, and I know Jordan Reed has broken out already in his career, but let's face it, 2 straight awful years. I know he was injured, but fantasy-wise, 2 straight awful years. I think that he has the talent to bounce back from that. I'm not saying he's going to be your tight end 1 or that you should even draft him in the 7th where he's going, but if he stays healthy, I think he's going to be just fine.
Big if there.
Yeah, I know that's the story of Jordan Reed. He's never played a full 16. But you know what? If you can get that 2015 season out of him where he had 87 for 952 and 11 touchdowns, or even somewhere close to that, that's great.
I mean, where is he going right now? I mean,
706.
706 is not bad at all.
Right. The 706, and that's a 12-team PPR. So if you can get him there, and then maybe a George Kittle 5 rounds later.
Love George Kittle.
Yeah, I think that would be totally worth it. And I actually almost took him for this segment. But anyway,
Yeah.
so those were our breakout players, but I want to talk about maybe just like almost a whole roster here, one at each position. Which players do you absolutely want on your team? Who are you targeting this year? And Lucas, let's start with you at quarterback.
So for quarterback, this guy was setting the world on fire. He did not start the season, but by the time that he was done playing for the season, he was the far and away best fantasy quarterback. And his name is Deshaun Watson. I think that he's going to come back strong. I've been following him on Instagram. The training is going well. I don't think that he is rattled in the sense I don't think he's going to be gun shy. I do not expect him to follow RG3's footsteps. I think he is going to come back in and lead this team to do some big things. So Deshaun Watson is a quarterback I absolutely want on my team.
Now, are you willing to take him where his current ADP is at the 211?
No, I'm not. If it falls, I would love to have him. I never take a quarterback in the first 3 rounds. I usually start looking to see what's there in the 4th round. And a lot of leagues that I'm in, people pride themselves on not pulling a QB early. So I'm usually able to get my selection of who I want in the 4th round, and that generally pays off. But no, at the 211, that's really early.
Super early. Yeah.
But I will say though, if he would have continued the pace that he was on for, next year, if the pace that he was on this past year, if he's able to do that for the full season next year, it probably would be worth the 211. I'm just not willing to pay that much for a quarterback.
Right, you're passing up wide receiver or running back 1 talent for that.
Yes, absolutely.
For sure. But, you're right. He was absolutely amazing. Hus, what about you? Your quarterback that you want this year?
Again, yeah, I'm going to go on value here. A guy that I think is going to, hopefully, I feel he's going to sneak through the cracks, as Jimmy Garoppolo, Mr. Gucci. I think, just given a full year, in the system, I think he's going to do really well. I think he put up 293, against the Bears. He didn't put up any touchdowns. He actually threw an interception that game, but he followed it up against Houston, 334 yards, touchdown, and then, he kind of stayed in that range a game after 381 against Tennessee and 2 touchdowns against Jacksonville, in the playoffs for you, 26 points. I just see, and these are kind of more of the tougher matchups. So I think, just going into the season next year, I think they're going to add more compliments around him. And if not, I'm definitely a big fan of George Kittle. It definitely Goodwin, if they're able to add more pieces, great. They got Garcon coming back next year as well. So Garoppolo is definitely a guy I'm targeting next year.
Would you take him at his current 707 ADP?
707, no. I think that's too high. I think you can get other guys in that range that's, should outperform him. But, he's one of those guys that, that I believe will be in that top 12 conversation. Hopefully he has that, potential, he definitely has that potential, but hopefully he can crack that, top 5 range, and then if he does, then obviously, he's, performing well beyond the value that, that you're taking him at.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You just have to hope that Garoppolo's going to be a top 5 quarterback. I don't see that happening.
No, I mean, but, again, if you're taking him late, like I'm thinking, envisioning you're taking him, as a value, I like him. And then if I'm also able to couple him, maybe with, I don't know, like a Mariota late, or something, I'm fine with that.
Well, all right, there you go, Jimmy Garoppolo. And my quarterback is Matthew Stafford, and I'm absolutely fine taking him where he's currently going, and that is at the 10-01. I think that's great. He's currently being drafted as the 15th quarterback off the board. This guy was top 10 last year.
That's insane.
Yeah, he just I feel like he gets disrespected every single year.
He does.
It's just ridiculous. Let's look
Now,
at.
do you think he was worth his new price tag?
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay.
Yep. Now, I don't know if the Lions are going to win a Super Bowl anytime soon. I don't really see that happening, but he's certainly a franchise quarterback that any team would want.
Right. Agreed.
And I mean, we'll look at the money that Alex Smith just got. Can't tell me that Matthew Stafford doesn't deserve more.
Or Garoppolo. I mean, the guy just played a handful of games.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, so Matthew Stafford, he's a guy who, where he's going right now, if I could even get him in the 9th, I would be absolutely okay with that. Let's move it over to running backs, and I'll kick this one off. The running back I want is Melvin Gordon. His current ADP is the 111, and he's being drafted as the 8th running back off the board, which I think is phenomenal. And I know I'm talking about a first-round pick here, but I've done a few mock drafts so far, and every single time I've drafted at the 111, either LaShawn McCoy or Dalvin Cook has been there for me in the second round. I think having Gordon and then one of those two guys is a great way to start the season.
Not mad at it.
You what?
I said not mad at it.
Not mad at it.
Not mad at it. Okay.
Not mad at it.
Lucas, what about you?
I do like your pick there, but I got to go with Todd Gurley. And at the 1-1, I am taking him every single time. I love Zeke. I love Le'Veon Bell, Hunt, all these guys. A lot of running backs I really like. David Johnson. Todd Gurley is the number 1 running back in the NFL. The dude put up, when you can put up back-to-back 40 or 50-point games in clutch time, that's what I'm talking about. And that team is going to be really good next year, so he is going to get his touches.
Yeah, but his season last year wasn't nearly, I'm not saying it wasn't nearly, but it wasn't as good as David Johnson's the year before.
Yes, it was. It was better. He put up more fantasy points than David Johnson's previous season.
Oh, I guess I was thinking more along the lines of stats. That could be it.
Hey, look, we're just in here for to win championships, right?
Yep, absolutely. Now, let me ask you, who has a better chance of repeating theirs? Gurley with 19 touchdowns or David Johnson with 20?
I'm going to be really curious to see what Arizona could do. I would say Todd Gurley because his teams, a lot of it does revolve around your team situation. I love McVay. I love Goff. I love their defense. Their whole team, I think they're going to come back strong again next year, and the team around him will allow him to have the opportunity to do that again. And I think there's a lot of unknowns with Arizona. Larry Fitz is coming back. But, at what point is he going to fall off? Like, is the dude just timeless and he's not going to? I'm curious to see what the quarterback situation is really going to turn out looking like. Just a lot of unknowns there. So I know David Johnson's a great player, but if all they have to do is just focus mainly on him and stop the run, it's going to be a tough road to hoe.
What did you just say? A tough road to hoe? Is that a Texas saying? I've never heard that before.
You've never heard that before?
No.
Oh man, we got to get you some culture. We got to get you out of Indiana, dude.
Oh,
watch,
damn.
Watch. Now you'll probably hear it like 3 times in the next.
I've heard of it.
Something. Yeah,
I've heard of it.
Maybe it just caught me off guard. But yeah, so I agree with everything that you said about Todd Gurley. I don't think you can make an argument for him to not be the 101.
Right. I mean, he's a very easy, guy to pick. And I mean, I guess if it's definitely about, the guy you have to have, but, I'm still, going to lean back on value and I'm going to go to Kenyon Drake again. You give me 15 touches over 100, total yards for 16 points in a PPR. You love that, the next week 10, again, he gives you, darn near over 100 yards and a touchdown. So he gives you 17 points there. Week 13 against Denver, 26 points. 27 against New England. 23 against Buffalo. So I again give this guy a full season. I think he's just going to be a beast. And I definitely love his draft value right now. It's probably going to go up if the situation stays the same right now, but if not, I mean, man, this guy is going to just come out, and I'm going to project him right now to go ahead and be RB 15 at least, because the guy has the chops. The guy definitely has the chops.
Lucas, anything to add that?
No, you more or less hit that on the head, and he's a guy that I'm also targeting and would like to have on my team as my. Probably where he's going right now, he would probably end up being my 3rd running back, which I would absolutely love.
Man, that's great.
Oh, yeah, the RB3? Yeah. Yep. If everything stays the same, hell yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm thinking of taking him, as a RB2 there, Because I definitely like racking up on some higher echelon.
I
wide
know
receivers.
you do. Yeah, I know you do.
Yeah, so,
first to the second round, third and fourth even.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and quickly go through wide receiver and tight end, though. Wide receiver, I chose Alshon Jeffrey. His current ADP is the 402. I would take him at the beginning of the third if I had 2 running backs already. I think he's going to be a stud.
Yeah. I was actually considering taking him as well. Definitely love the pick. Alshon Jeffrey should have a much better year in the second year in the offense.
And they paid him. They want him there. Who's your pick for wide receiver?
Jordy Nelson. Oh, man. Aaron Rodgers back. Jordy Nelson's going to be back. And his ADP right now, I mean, again, it's now, but it's beautiful.
The 405.
This guy is going to guarantee, unless he, barring injury, guarantee he's giving you wide receiver, at very minimum, wide receiver 2. But I mean, a lot of people are taking Devontae Adams over him, which I think they're going to kind of, in that offense, give me the later guy, and Jordy's going to be there, and I think he's still the preferred target, of Aaron Rodgers. He gave you 20 points week 1 against Seattle, week 3 against Cincy, 23 points against the Bears, in week 5, 10 points, and have the best outings, the rest of the season. But that's because Aaron Rodgers went down. So I think, with a healthy Aaron Rodgers, love his ADP, definitely targeting Jordy Nelson.
Yeah. Lucas, your wide receiver.
I got to go with Keenan Allen. This guy, every single year, has just been on track to have a huge year and has always got injured. Everyone was way off of him this last year. He was falling to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. And then kind of had a little bit of a slump that, when Phillip Rivers fell off, he wasn't doing so much. But he ended up coming strong, coming through pretty strong for you. So I got to go Keenan Allen. This guy's going to have a big year. He's quick. He can turn a 7-yard slant into a touchdown to the house. Really fun player to watch.
And a great player to own, man. I love me some Keenan Allen. We definitely were not sleeping on him here.
Not one bit.
I think we were all very high on Keenan Allen. Maybe Nick was down on him or something. I don't know. But I don't know anyone else that was. We were very high on Keenan Allen. And, I think he helped us all win a lot of championships.
Yeah, he's at the 204 right now, which I think is perfect for him.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. He's going to be a wide receiver 1 again. Tight end, wrapping this one up, I'm taking Jack Doyle, and not because I'm a Colts fan, but because of the points that he can produce for being drafted at the end of the 7th round. In a PPR, he's great.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's value, that's sleepy, and the guy is solid, So, you can't go wrong there. Jack Doyle is great.
Yep. Lucas, what about your tight end?
So the guy that I absolutely want on my team, as does everyone else, is Zach Ertz. If you got him last year, you were probably getting him in something like the 10th round, which is just insane value considering this guy was putting up double-digit points for you every single week. And out of the tight end spot, you could not ask for anything more. It was amazing to have him on the teams that I did. Everyone's going to be going after him, so I'm going to throw out one other name, which is Hunter Henry. I think this guy has a lot of breakout potential, and I think that there will be some people sleeping on him. Mm-hmm. So those are my guys.
Well, after he put up a couple goose eggs last year.
He earned it, right. He earned that, but I'm not putting that on his talent. That was just play scheming and Gates still hanging around.
They wanted to get Gates that touchdown.
Yep.
That's really all it was.
My tight end is Delaney Walker. Not the guy that's going to win you weeks necessarily, but he's definitely not going to kill you. He's the top 5 tight end pretty much every season, and I think going into next season, given that Marcus Mariota is going to have another coach, he's going to just lean on what he knows, and that's Delaney Walker. The guy's solid, always putting up teens for you in the PPR, sprinkling some touchdowns. Hopefully you have some more in there next year. Definitely taking him, and again, this is a value guy that I'd love to have.
Yeah, I think his ADP right now is a little rich for me, though. You know, that last pick in the 5th round, it's a little too early for me for Delaney Walker. But if he fell to maybe the 7th, I could see it.
I think that's fine for him because you know what you're getting there. I mean, you absolutely know what you're getting at the end of the 5th, you know, and you're not going to be scrambling for a guy that's, you know, but if you miss out on him, I'm definitely fine grabbing, you know, some Kittles and some Njokus, you know, or something like that.
Grabbing them late.
Yep.
All right, well, there we go. Now let's move into the news. All right, kicking this off. This was, I feel like, a surprise to most people. Alshon Jeffrey had surgery Wednesday morning to repair a torn rotator cuff, it's an injury he suffered in training camp last year and played through it all the way to the Super Bowl. I had no idea.
I mean, he's a G. He's fighting through them injuries. We like it. It's toughness.
We'll give him tough points. We'll give him toughness points. Now, I can't pinpoint exactly when I remember something like this happening to him, and I know you said it happened there in training camp and he fought through it. It did seem like it took him a little while because he was off. You know, he's been off. He has been off of his game, and then he came on really strong there towards the end of the season. So hopefully he, you know, gets full motion in it and comes out swinging because I have high hopes for him.
Yeah, week 8 on, he was pretty great. He did have that stretch there though from weeks 5, 6, and 7 where they were just not good at all. So it did take some time to get used to him in the offense, but once he did, I mean, he took off.
I mean, considering it was his first year, you know, like that's, you know, wasn't a bad season for him at all.
No, not at all. I think it's pretty great what he was able to do with a torn rotator cuff, and I think he's going to be even better next year after he's had that full season under his belt.
Yep.
All right, moving on, the Dolphins assigned a $16.2 million franchise tag to Jarvis Landry. It was a non-exclusive tag, which means other teams he can negotiate with other teams, and if he signs with another team, the Dolphins get 2 first-round picks.
Is it 2? I just thought it was 1.
That's what I saw. Yeah.
Wow. I don't think any teams are doing 2. If it was 1, I could see, you know, maybe, you know, a couple of teams doing it, but 2, it's kind of rich, you know.
Yeah, I'm looking at ABC News right now. Landry was given a non-exclusive franchise tag, and scrolling down, if another team wants him, they'll have to give up 2 first-round picks from the new team. But either way, good for Jarvis Landry for getting his money. He deserves it.
16 mil, wow.
Yeah, deserves every single penny of that. In other Dolphins news, Miami Herald's Barry Jackson said it would not be remotely surprising if the Dolphins were interested in C.J. Anderson, once again, if he were released by the Broncos. So, let's go back to this Kenyon Drake thing. If they sign C.J. Anderson, how do you feel about Drake? And I know both of you guys like this, so Lucas, I'll start with you.
I'm a little bit more apprehensive if that happens, but I think that Kenyon Drake is the better player. So he might have to work for it, but I'm not too worried about it.
Hus, what do you think?
I'm still pretty confident that Drake is gonna take the job. I mean, he's the younger back there. He's had just, you know, like look better. I mean, well, obviously, you know, C.J. Anderson wasn't on the team, and yeah, we know that C.J. Anderson was sought after, you know, by Miami. But I don't know. I just feel like Drake has looked really good, and it'd be kind of silly for them to go away from him.
I mean, it would be, but if they signed him, if there is interest there, you are confident Drake has the starting job?
I would still be very confident that he has the starting job, yes.
Or at least starting the season, he'll be number 1 on the depth chart, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I got you.
Yeah. I think that does great things for his value also, so.
Yeah, it'll certainly lower it.
Yep.
It certainly will. A little bit of breaking news here. This alert actually just came in that Andrew Luck has begun throwing weighted footballs and is full steam ahead for 2018.
That was good.
Yes, that is great news. And I am super happy that I don't have to watch Jacoby Brissett out there 16 times a season.
Yeah. Well, T.Y. Hilton now, where are you taking him?
3rd round. Yep. Hands down, 3rd round if he's there. And that's his ADP right now. But, you know, guys going ahead of him, I would take him over Devontae Adams. I would, and maybe that's the only guy I would take him over, but still move him up to the beginning of the 3rd, end of the 2nd.
Yep. Can't argue with you too much there.
Yeah, Lucas, what about you?
I think that's about where he should be, is third round. He's still kind of even with luck there, he was known to put up some bust games more so than other players.
I don't know.
He led the league in receiving yards in 2016.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was amazing. I mean,
He was a second-round pick last year.
He was kind of amazing.
Maybe I've been playing it too long, but I definitely have some not so fond memories of him being on my team and costing me.
Sure, this year.
Yeah,
This past fantasy season, sure.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the
he
year
was
before?
terrible. Year before, though,
Yeah, before, oh my God. The guy was like a championship
let's
winner.
see. Let me look up. He finished in 2016. He was the number 5 wide receiver.
okay, that was not the year I had him.
But yeah, at least 2016 he was huge. The year before that, he was a little inconsistent. I'll give you that. 2015 he was. 2016 was massive. Some other Colts news here, though. A bunch coming in the last couple days. Colts are closing in on a deal to bring Adam Vinatieri back for at least one more season. And the guy, I mean, he ages. Obviously looks like he ages, but still kicks. He's 45 years old.
Amazing news. Kicker news.
I think he's gonna kick till he's 50.
Yeah, I mean, he's that good. And, I mean, when you love the job, why not?
Yeah, I mean, this is still football news, and it's fantasy relevant, kind of. If you like kickers. CBS Indianapolis's Mike Chappell does not expect the Colts to re-sign Frank Gore, which is not a surprise to me. I didn't expect them to re-sign him either. They want to move on. They want to get younger. He was great. I really liked having him in that backfield, but it's time to move on from... he's going into his age 35 season, isn't he?
I believe that sounds correct.
Yeah,
And I know
he'll
you
be
follow
35
that
in
team.
May.
Yeah.
So that's
Well-
way too old.
Make room for the Marlon Mack train.
Nah, I think they're going to sign someone.
Regardless, I think that Marlon Mack is going to get work.
I don't know. There's that rumor that the Colts might take Barkley with the 3rd overall pick.
I think the Giants are going to take him.
Or you just want the Giants to take him.
Yep.
See, I want the Colts to take him too. They need to address the offensive line. I want to see them do that through free agency and then draft Barkley.
Yeah, I wouldn't be upset if we also traded away the pick and just, added pieces to our line.
Yeah.
Through our draft.
Yeah,
So.
I'd like it if the Colts traded down as well. One other piece of, I guess, former Colts news. Vontae Davis visited with the Raiders on Wednesday. For 4 or 5 years in a row, Vontae Davis was a top 5 cornerback in the league.
Yep.
He
Had that injury year last year, but aside from that, the guy was just amazing.
Yeah, like Richard Sherman got all the press, but Vontae Davis was every bit as good. All right, moving on from the Colts now. The Buccaneers released Doug Martin, which is something they should have done last year.
I mean, when you're paying a guy that much money,
Yeah, they could have cut him for nothing, though, because of that the Adderall thing that he had. That voided his contract, or voided the guaranteed money anyway. They could have cut
Right.
him with no repercussion.
right? But, also there was rumor that, well, not rumor, but, there was word that he looked great in camp. So, I mean, I guess they were just hoping for the best for him, giving him a last shot. And he clearly failed. And now they got Peyton Barber and Jaquiz Rogers in the wings. And I think Jaquiz Rogers is likely a cut candidate. Peyton Barber's probably going to have to face some sort of, competition in the draft or through free agency, maybe. But I really, 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 really like Peyton Barber. I think he's going to be a great piece next year.
I really do not. Lucas, what about you?
Own him or watch him, I guess.
He's someone that I'm definitely going to be watching. I'm not sure. I'll have a couple shares, and we'll see what moves that they make. And I think that the team will indicate their level of trust in him based on whether or not they go trade for and or pick up other running backs at this point.
Lucas, if you like Alex Collins, then you should really like Peyton Barber. Based off the fact of yardage from week 13, 100 yards with 23 carries, 12 carries, 58 yards. He followed up 53 yards, 51 yards, 71 yards. I mean, these are limited carries, and the guy's catching the football as well. I think he's an all-purpose back. I mean, if you look back to week 12, when he just vultured 2 touchdowns, came out of nowhere and just vultured 2 touchdowns. I mean, so I think, he's shown the chops. I've been following him for some time. You guys know I love the sleepers. And he's my early call this year that if things stay the same right now, I mentioned this out to Dave Richard on Twitter. You know, he was saying how Doug Martin was gone and Jaquiz is likely also going to, you know, he actually agreed, you know, that Jaquiz is going to get cut and Barber is going to be left. And I tweeted to him, I said, you know, I think he's, you know, this is my first sleeper of the season. I think he's going to be the RB 14. And he's like, oh boy. Yeah. he just mentioned, oh boy, but, you know, and I wanted to mention, hey, Stills, you know.
You wanted to rub that in?
I wanted to rub the Stills in a little bit. I think there was another player that you were high on last season when you had him on. And I think you hit the nail on it, and I think he kind of snubbed him. But Dave's always hitting the nail on other things like Kamara.
Yeah,
Yep.
Great guest, too. Great guest.
Yeah. Awesome guest.
Next piece of news, A.J. McCarron. This is a couple days old, but A.J. McCarron won his grievance against the Bengals, so he is now a free agent. Keep in mind that the Browns last year wanted to give up a first-round and a second-round draft pick for A.J. McCarron, and now they can just sign him.
That worked out.
Yeah, the Browns.
Yeah, silly.
Well, it worked out because of their incompetence in getting the call to the office in time.
You know, it is what it is, right?
Yeah. They were too busy celebrating the trade, they forgot to call before the deadline.
Oh, that's so painful.
Yeah.
That's so painful and embarrassing, but...
Yep.
I mean, it's the Browns. I mean, what else do you expect?
It is the Browns. Well, speaking of them, ESPN Browns reporter Pat McManaman believes that McCarron has jumped to the top of the list for the Browns, which, you know, if they wanted to give up a first and a second round pick for him, it's no surprise that they would want to just try to sign him. That way you don't have to give up anything. And then Mary Kay Cabot of the Cleveland Plain Dealer confirmed that the Browns might be interested in looking at Terrell Pryor once again. Lucas, how do you feel about that?
If you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but Terrell Pryor looked like a pretty solid player the last he played for the Browns.
Hus was in love with him.
Yeah. I think he should have stayed put. He had he was doing big things there, and then just wasn't utilized properly, or couldn't get in the swing of things this last year. So maybe Terrell Pryor 2.0 coming back.
Yeah. So I mean, the guy clearly wanted to go get paid. Kirk Cousins didn't give a darn about this guy and made him look fantasy irrelevant. I do believe in the talent of Terrell Pryor, but the fact of the matter that they also have Josh Gordon there, they also have Coleman there. I don't know if there's going to be much room for Terrell Pryor to have much of a presence in like a fantasy world. So I mean, even if they do sign him, you know, I mean, what are they going to use him kind of as like that guy? You know, I don't know. I don't really like it for fantasy. I would like him to go somewhere else. Maybe like the Bills. You know, the Bills need some receivers. Maybe even San Fran. But you know, like with this team, I just see him getting buried. You know, they got Njoku, they got Coleman, they got Gordon, and then they got Duke Johnson as well. That they're probably going to convert into a receiver soon as well. So I mean, I don't see much room for him.
Yeah, Duke is basically a receiver already.
Yeah, and he was also sneakily a top, just right outside the top 12 running backs. He was a top 13.
He was actually 11 in PPR.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. So, yeah, he was a top 12. So, yeah, very sneaky.
74 catches.
Yep.
That's huge.
Insane. That's insane.
That's huge. I also think a lot of people forget what Terrell Pryor's age actually is. He's going into his age 29 season.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I think we all definitely forget that.
Yeah.
Great story. Glad he got paid.
It is.
I don't really see much.
Doesn't he hold the record for the longest rushing touchdown from a quarterback? Like when he was a quarterback of the Raiders, didn't he have like a 98-yard touchdown run or something? 93 yard run.
Was it?
Yeah, his rookie. I think it was his rookie season. It was one of the seasons with the Raiders. 93 yard touchdown run. So that was really the only play I remember him making as a quarterback. But let's go ahead and move on. So some Jets and Kirk Cousins news. ESPN reported that the Jets are willing to pay a ton of money to Kirk Cousins, and one league source, and I thought this was ridiculous. I thought it was like from The Onion or something when I read this. The Jets could seriously front load a 5-year, $150 million contract and give Cousins $60 million guaranteed in the first year.
Wow.
$60 million for one season.
How do you not sign that?
Right. Today.
Right now. Like, can we fast forward everything and just get that signed right now? I mean, wow. And it was Terrell Pryor, 93 yards in 2013. Colin Kaepernick went for 90 in 2014.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. So, anyways, Lucas, if Cousins goes to the Jets, who do you like over there? Do you like any of them more than with Josh McCown?
I'm not sure that I do like any of them more than kind of what they're already slated. Maybe ASJ with Kirk Cousins getting comfortable over there, relying more on the tight end. I'm not sure. I think it's a crapshoot who he's going to end up connecting with. And who can stay on the field too. My guy was going to be Robbie Anderson instead of Jordy Nelson. Just because a lot of people are definitely going to be forgetting about Robbie Anderson, especially with the trouble he got into.
Right, we still haven't even heard of like any potential suspensions or anything.
Right, but I don't think we're going to see anything too bad. Maybe 2 games or something like that. But when he comes back, I mean, he's their only option. He's super talented. They came out and said they're not giving up on him. If they're able to get Kirk Cousins, Robbie Anderson, I think, has potential to be a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, and Quincy Enunwa too.
May sound crazy, but definitely a number 2. Top 24. He's going to come back, hopefully be healthy. He was, just whatever you throw at him, he was, his reception rate was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely was. Yep, and they still got that Ardarius Stewart and Jermaine Kearse there as well. So they do have good receiving options. They're not stellar, aside from Robbie Anderson, but they're good.
Right, solid. And definitely like ASJ.
They need a running back, though.
For sure.
Next piece of news. We got a couple pieces of defensive news here that I'll just run through real quick. Some bigger names, though. The Bears released linebacker Jarrell Freeman. The Texans released linebacker Brian Cushing. Julius Peppers is leaning towards returning to the NFL. And then the Cowboys are expected to tag defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence as well. Then couple final pieces, kind of insignificant news, but hey, it's the offseason. News nonetheless. ESPN's David Newton could see the Panthers, and that was in quotes, could see the Panthers releasing Jonathan Stewart. And ESPN's Jeff Dickerson admits that the Bears will probably release Marcus Wheaton, and I'm not even sure why he still has a job.
Yeah,
the dude's not good.
I mean, maybe he's one of those professional guys that says all the right things, and just is one of those guys that is able to keep a job just by doing that. I mean, those are good guys to kind of have around too, just because they're not going to get into trouble, but not at a price tag of bringing up a young guy.
Yeah, very true. So the Bears they're going to be losing Wheaton, which is not a huge blow, but Cameron Meredith's also a free agent. Kevin White, who is number 1 on their depth chart still, probably not going to play again.
Can we see this guy play some football? I feel like I've been waiting so long to see if he's talented or not.
Well, he was in that same draft class with Amari Cooper, and he was actually more highly touted than Amari Cooper.
Right. Yeah, I remember.
And he's played, 4 games? Something like that?
Is it a game a season?
Yeah, no, I think he came back, he was injured to start the season and came back for 4 games and then got injured again, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that's what he did.
Okay, sounds about right.
But yeah, it does. I was actually, it was a great debate I was having with Nick, and it was I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it was one of the ones where he took the Bears player and started talking about Kevin White's stats and everything, and I was like, Kevin White's never played a game, Nick. And I was like, oh crap. Yes, he has. He did play 4 games in 2016.
Well, there you go. Didn't you mention that he played 4 games?
Yeah, and he played 1 game last season. Got injured in the first game.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah.
What a bust. They're definitely cursed for the worst.
Yeah, we certainly want to see him play, though, because his college tape was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, just can't seem to stay on the field.
Lucas, you want him on your team?
Nope. I think that I will go ahead and pass that to you guys. I do not want any piece of that.
I'm good. I want no shares.
Yeah, same here. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up with the news. I guess we did just get one last piece of an alert, or piece of news in an alert, not piece of an alert. The Saints and Drew Brees are going to meet at the Combine to discuss a short-term deal. Brees is a free agent, but I don't expect him to go anywhere else.
No, it doesn't make much sense for him to do anything else, yeah.
Right. Yep, absolutely. What about you, Lucas?
Nope. I think I agree. Doesn't make much sense. So
yeah, and they want him to. They want him, and they need him. He's great for that offense, and they've really turned things around in the running game, which hurts Drew Brees fantasy wise, but is only good for making them a contender. Because I mean, they were what, one blown tackle away on that Stephon Diggs prayer from going to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Yeah, and who knows how things would have turned out.
Yep,
so.
Absolutely.
Here comes the mailman.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into our last little bit here. We have a couple questions from some listeners. So kicking off with Ryan718 says, thank you for all the help, you guys. Got the championship this year, so congrats to Ryan. That's awesome. And he says, here's my 2-keeper league dilemma. I'm planning to keep Hunt over Julio. Any thoughts? My other keeper is Todd Gurley and half PPR. So Hunt or Julio?
I'm okay with Hunt. Sure up your running backs. I mean, the Hunt and Gurley, I mean, that is huge. That is huge. And I was not comfortable whatsoever with what I saw from Julio. And although I do expect some sort of a bounce back, he has kind of been this player that is known to put up 40-point games, and then he just doesn't find the end zone for a stretch.
But you can't bench him.
No, you can't. But it's also something I would rather have the consistent double-digit points from from both of my running back positions, and then go from there.
Oh yeah, no, I'm completely agreeing with you. Like, it sucks that Julio, you have to keep playing him even when he's sucking.
I mean, he still was the top.
He still finishes the wide receiver 7.
Yeah, I mean, he was still fine. I mean, he actually helped you win your championship, so he didn't let you down there.
No, yeah, he overall at the end of the season he had great stats. Wide receiver 7 is pretty good, but only 3 touchdowns on the year, and 2 of them came in that massive game. Just very inconsistent for the most part. Not what you wanted out of your first-round draft pick, which is why his ADP now is the 2nd round.
Yeah,
not much of a surprise.
I mean,
there.
that's kind of where he used to go.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually in this same dilemma that Ryan 718 is. I have a 3-keeper league, and I've got DJ, Zeke, Hunt, Julio, and Evans.
Wow.
Right. So I drafted really well in 2016, made some awesome trades for the future. DJ and Zeke, for sure keeping. But Hunt, Julio, and Evans. Now, I would love to have Hunt and have 3, top 5 running backs, but having that wide receiver 1 as well.
By having 3 of those top running backs, you are going to short the league several running backs. So I think that by doing that, what you are going to, in effect, do is force people to pull running backs early and will leave wide receivers open for you.
I like that. So you would keep Hunt over Julio, and this is a full PPR, so there as well.
That it's tough. Yeah, I think that I would.
And I would certainly lean towards Hunt if you can keep these guys indefinitely, too.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely would. I mean, you guys know I love Hunt. But yeah, I definitely would do this, especially the fact that Hunt has higher trade value. So even if you wanted to trade him away for like a higher echelon wide receiver, I think you could do so.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely. And if you get to keep these guys indefinitely, being able to roll with Gurley and Hunt for 8 to 10 years, that's okay.
Yeah, that's pretty
insane. More
insane.
ships for sure.
Yeah, that is not too bad at all. So Kareem Hunt there over Julio Jones. Next question, Wilson27 says, I was wondering how many have donated for Rob again this year to be in the best of all leagues, the Pro-Am. And I don't really know what that exact number is right now, but we haven't even really begun to discuss like what shows are going to be part of the Pro-Am. So at this point, can't really tell you.
The Pro-Am is growing. So, our very first season, we had one league. Last year, we had 2 leagues. I would imagine that we're going to have 3 leagues next year. And Wilson, you know what? I have a funny feeling that you'll be in this league.
Well, maybe.
So
no promises.
Yeah. No promises.
Yeah,
but,
and let's say we'll do at least 2. I don't want to commit to 3 leagues. But yeah, probably at least 2. But yeah, Wilson, thank you for donating. I know that you have already done that, and that is amazing. And everyone here very, very much appreciates that. So just know that you've contributed to a great cause. But as of right now, no idea how many have donated or how many who are going to donate. We hope everybody does, but no idea right now. King B. Rob, or King Brob. I think I like the second one better. King Brob. Would any of you trade your 4th overall pick for Deshaun Watson in this year's rookie draft in a dynasty league?
Oh, boy.
I think I would.
I'd consider it, yeah.
I would have to know the roster, but 2-quarterback league, hands down, I'd do it right now.
Yeah, I mean, especially a 2-quarterback league. But I mean, if you're just talking about building a dynasty, if you need this piece, then this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would do it regardless.
Yeah.
Because you might already have other pieces that are just, like you're filling your roster out, and he could just be that missing piece for your dynasty. And he's an amazing piece.
Yeah, if you're rocking like Rodgers, Wentz, and Wilson, no, don't do it.
No.
But you don't know what the 4th overall pick in the rookie draft is going to be. Right now we don't really know who it's going to be, but we also don't. It's a rookie. We haven't seen anything about them in the NFL. We have seen Deshaun Watson. We haven't seen a ton of him, but we know what he can do in the NFL.
I'm also just assuming that this person has a really good team and that this is like their missing piece.
Yes.
Kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would pull that trigger regardless, I think.
Right.
Yep. All right, last question here from Soul. He says, what athletes are hitting the hype train? And he says, in parentheses, choo-choo, and are being overdrafted in mocks. So who is being overdrafted right now? So I've got my ADPs pulled up here, and this might be an unpopular pick, but I think Josh Gordon in the 4th round is being overdrafted.
I think I can get behind that.
Who are the wide receivers around him?
Well, he's being drafted as the wide receiver 17, which I think is too high. So the 3 picks before him were Baldwin, Cooks, and Alshon, and then after him, Diggs, Jordy, Fitz, Cooper, Tate.
I think, honestly, I feel like he's kind of around where he should be because he has so much potential. He really does.
See, in the next round,
because of his potential. I don't think he should be around those guys because when you're playing with potential and you're playing with those guys that are sure or fire guys, I don't know.
Yeah, in the next round, we got Allen Robinson and Des Bryant in the 5th. I'd take both of them over Josh Gordon.
Yep.
Robbie Anderson in the 7th, assuming that if he doesn't get suspended, and even if he does, I would still take him over Josh Gordon.
See, there's where you can kind of draw your line, even though I still agree with you. But I can see someone saying, no, you're crazy. I would want Josh Gordon. I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly flashed, hence his nickname, a couple games this season when he came back, but 4th round is a little too early for me.
Yeah.
Who do you think is being overdrafted, Lucas? Or Lucky? I'll start calling you that. Or Luck-ass. Which one?
Luck-ass.
Hey, any of those. One of the guys we were talking about earlier who I really like, Deshaun Watson in the 2nd round. I do like him, but that's way too early for a quarterback. And I do want to see, although he is progressing nicely, I do want to see a little bit of him out there and running and cutting before I'm willing to get anywhere near that draft pick for him.
Yeah, certainly being overdrafted. Who's your overdrafted player? Who have you heard is on the hype train?
I'm probably going to get a lot of flack. Well, probably not, but whatever. Stephon Diggs. I just think, 4th round, I think that's too high for him. I'd love him in like the 6th round. I think he belongs in that Chris Hogan, Jeffrey, Dez range. But
Jeffrey's a
when
third round pick.
Yep, he is.
Oh yeah, don't put Jeffrey down there in the 6th.
Well, I'm just going off of some drafts. Like I did a draft the other day. He went towards the end of the 5th round.
Wow.
Yeah, so
that'd be a steal. So you think Diggs in the 4th is a little too high?
I think Diggs in the 4th is a little too high. There's still guys I would like around him. Jordy, he's going kind of around that range. Alshon, I'd like him over him. I think Cooper still offers more upside. I mean, they have, like a whole different coach, so, I mean, we have to, wait and kind of see what they do there. So, I'm just not sold on Diggs in the 4th round, even though I love the guy.
And they do not have any quarterback on the roster right now.
Exactly. So, I mean,
all 3 of them are free agents.
With all of that, right? So we have to wait and see who they bring back. And then if it's not, Keenum, it's, we kind of have to wait and see who he has that rapport with again. So,
yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So there, you got our hype train picks. All right, guys, anything else you want to add here at the end of the show?
Can't wait for the draft. Oh, I miss football. I miss it.
Can't wait for the fantasy draft.
Tears.
Both. Yep.
I thought about trying to get tickets to the Combine again this year. I was telling Lucas about this before the show, but when I went last year, it's cool to say you were at the NFL Combine, but it is so boring. It's so boring. You're not allowed to have your phone out, so you can't you'll play a game in between drills or anything like that. They don't want you recording, which I understand, but you also can't say a word. You have to be dead quiet because they don't want the players getting distracted, during the most important audition of their lives.
So you might as well just watch it on TV.
Yeah, it was so boring. And it was free to get in. You had to have tickets, but they were free tickets, but it was just not fun.
No fun.
Not fun. All right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap it up for the show today. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're giving away a Michael Crabtree jersey very soon. We love all of you who listen and enjoy the show each week. So, the autographed, certified Michael Crabtree jersey from pristineauction.com, and winning is super easy. All you have to do is leave us a nice review if we helped you out this year. So on iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher, wherever you listen, take a screenshot of that review and email that to us at sleeperwire@gmail.com with your name, and we're going to pick a winner randomly at the end of the month. Also, follow us on Twitter at Sleeperwire Show. You can find me on there at Seymour Sleeperwire. Hus is on there at Sleeperwire Hus, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct.
Hey, I got it right this time. And you can find us all on Sleeperbot at Professor Chris, Prophet Hus, and Sleeperwire LBB for Lucas. And then on Fantasy Life at Professor Chris and Hus the Prophet. Well, thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next time.